What is up, Jimmy on Clubhouse? Just wanted to come on in here today on day number 2 of my 7-day water fasting challenge. I know a lot of you guys here on the Instagram live have been participating and have been wanting to engage in the content. So here we are. So I came on a little bit early so I could talk to you guys for a few minutes. Hello, Yellow-Eyed One, Minnesota Keto, Ketonian Clem, Ruth from Iowa, thank you all for being here. We're getting ready to start my Clubhouse room. Hello, Norma, where I'm giving the update on day number 2 of my 7-day water fasting challenge. And so I hope you're enjoying some of the simulcast of this content here. And I'm loving having this available because you guys that are longtime fans that used to watch Jimmy Rants, you know that I've been doing organized fasts, corporate fasts for a little while, and they've always been very popular. And so far, so good for me in terms of I'm still on it, and I'm 53 hours in now, so able to keep going. So if you're here, go ahead and tell me what hour you are in of fasting. If you're participating, I do try to bring you into the conversation when I'm on Clubhouse. Obviously, I'm talking live with voices there, so I kind of have to pay attention to them, but I am looking down at what you write down here, so please do write. If you're watching this on the replay, either on IGTV or YouTube, definitely go to Jimmy on Clubhouse at Instagram, and that's where all the fun begins. You can go live. Norma says she's at the 46-hour mark. So you're rocking it, Norma. Norma, how long did you go the last time you did one of these fasts with me? What was that length? Did you go the whole 7 days the last time we did this? I know I did one last summer in July, and then I cut out after 30 hours. It was just too stressful in my life at the time. I couldn't go longer, so I'm already well over what I did the last time, thankfully. But yeah, we're going to get started here probably in about 2 minutes. Thank you guys for being here. If you're fasting, please participate in the content. If you're just watching and trying to learn for the time when you do start to fast, then that's great. I will show you guys on camera. I have a little plate of salt here. So I keep this right next to me when I go on these lives, and I keep that. Norma says I did 7 days, 3 times with you, and then 21 on my own. Yeah, it's funny, Norma. I think if I feel pretty good after 7 days, I will probably continue on well after 7 days because it's been a very long time since I have fasted last. And I've had some stress in my life. And so far, so good on mitigating some of those effects of the stress. So that's good. It's a good sign. But kudos to you. Yeah, I would like to push a 21 day because it has been so long since my last really long fast. So I want to, if my body feels good, I want to keep going. So I plan on it. All right, guys, if you just joined us, we are getting ready to start my Clubhouse room. And those of you that are new to Clubhouse, it is an app currently only available to Apple device users. So this is an iPad. It also is for the iPhone. And then you have to get an invitation. And people are like, I want an invitation. Just send me one. I'm like, well, they only send us about 2 or 3 a week. And so I have a waiting list of 20 people. In fact, they just gave me 3 new ones today, and I just went right down my list and sent those out. Clem says, first time listening to this challenge. Are you doing plain H2O, or are you also doing broth? No, I'm not a fan of bone broth. Clem, thank you for that question. Good old H2O. So I keep this right by my side the whole day, and I dilly sip on that bad boy all day long. It's just my many years of experience that adding in these extra things like broth sound like a good idea, but they actually do more harm than good in terms of stoking hunger and things like that. So try to stick with just water and salt, which is why I call it 7-day water fasting challenge. Yeah, it seems like a while, doesn't it, Clem? But it actually can be counterproductive to have bone broth because there is protein in there. And protein can, in that context of not eating food, it can trigger your body to think you're eating food, and then it thinks you're severely under eating food, which is why it sends you hunger signals. So don't do that. Don't do that. All right, let's get this show on the road. I'm going to bring everybody in, and we'll see you on the live. Here we go. Come on in, you guys. We are going to have day number 2 of the 7-day water fasting challenge. And if you missed it, we started this challenge on January. We started this challenge. Yeah, it feels like January when you fasted for this long. We started this challenge on Monday. So that was yesterday, March the 1st. And we're going 7 days on this fasting challenge. And literally doing a water and salt only fast as the goal. You can certainly modify it to fit your schedule, but that seems to be the best way for me. I am currently in hour number 54 of my fast, and I feel pretty good because the last time I tried to do a 7-day fast, I only made it to about the hour 30, and the stress of my life at the time, this was last July, it was just way too much. And so when you are under stress, it's not a good time to fast. And so I knew that. I ended the fast last year. But this time I came into it with the purposefulness of trying to mitigate stress, keep that under control. And like I said, hour 54, so far so good. And I'm doing well. And I see my bud Dax just came in the room. What's up, Dax?
Hi, Jimmy. Day 2. Actually, I'm about a little over 40 hours into it, I suppose.
Yes.
But just in case anybody's wanting to commiserate with anybody else, this is probably going to be a good day to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, if you're down in the audience and you are currently fasting with us on this 7-day water fasting challenge, I'm also live over on the Jimmy on Clubhouse Instagram page. So this applies to you as well. Come on up to the stage. Tell us how many hours you are in and what kind of issues you might be dealing with. This is why I wanted to do this 7 days of guided, because I didn't want you to feel like you were all alone. And quite frankly, Dax, if nobody raises their hand, there's a couple of people that are going to come up, but I want to bring up an issue first that I'm dealing with. And I've dealt with this on every long fast I've ever done, Dax. I have always had to deal with this issue. Diarrhea. Like, something happens in day 2 of an extended fast, at least for me. I know this isn't across the board, but at least for me, I have extremely loose stools, and I'm still having them I've already just started day 3. So is that the dying off of some of the gut microbiome, maybe the bad bugs in there? Is that kind of your understanding of what's happening?
Jimmy, I would say not quite at this point.
Okay.
In my experience, I tend to feel when your body starts to release toxins back into your system so they can be removed either through bowel movements or urine, I generally start to feel those effects going into day 3.
Yeah.
What you might be experiencing, and I get this depending on the amount of salt intake that I have. If I take in too much salt, I absolutely will have diarrhea.
Yes, and this is the battle, because you want enough to give you the electrolyte balance, but then if you go overboard, you get the opposite end coming out the wazoo, as I'm describing. So yeah, I do think that I suspect because day 2 is such a hard day, maybe I oversalt, and that's what's causing some of the gastrointestinal issues.
I believe that is. I don't say I have it down to a science, but I've got it to where for my particular
sorry, dude. I was trying to make you a moderator, and I accidentally sent you back to the audience. I'm still getting used to this platform. I did it to Caitlin too. I'm sorry, guys. Ugh. All right, let's make you a moderator. Keep talking. I'm sorry.
Anyway, I was saying that for my own physiology, I've learned pretty much exactly how much salt I need to take in order to, because for people who might be trying to fast without any salt or any light replacement, you're probably going to be stopped up a bit for about a day and a half. But you need the electrolytes you just need to perhaps back off those just a little bit.
Yeah.
And that could fix that issue.
So, Caitlin, I was describing how almost invariably when I go on an extended fast, in day number 2, I get diarrhea. And that's exactly what happened. And, I always suspected it was probably an over salting issue because it's just water and salt. What else could it be?
Yeah, and another thing is your body's just trying to purge, right?
Yes.
So depending on where your ketone levels are, your body's literally breaking stuff down. It's like, okay, all of this stuff needs to go. And so it is just releasing it.
Yes.
So it doesn't build up.
And it's a beautiful thing. I'm not bemoaning it. And it certainly, I'm like, okay, better out than in, as Shrek once said. Yeah, so I love it. But the problem is sometimes people think, oh no, fasting has made me sick. No, fasting is healing you. And definitely we talked about, I believe yesterday, how when you start fasting and you start mobilizing some of these things in your body, especially the stored body fat, it might release some stored toxins in there that might make you feel temporarily sluggish and feeling bad. I have had those moments. Currently, I'm pretty good, except for the diarrhea kind of still ongoing periodically. Hopefully, if I suddenly go quiet, you know where I'm at. But the toxins being released, like I can tell that it's healing. I can already kind of feel that, Dax.
Yeah, the main issues I'm having right now, which I don't really have any main issues. I know pretty much exactly how this is going to go.
Yes.
But right now at about 40 hours, probably 36 hours from when my stomach cleared, which is actually your real fast time, start time. I'm a little foggy headed.
Yep.
If I happen to say anything that is under what I'm saying, you'll understand why.
Oh.
It's as if my brain right now is thinking, I want to think something, and then after about a second, I start thinking it. So it's not,
yes.
Not a direct connection right now, but I know that's part of the situation as well.
Yes.
Converting to ketosis has got its own challenges.
Well, and the thing about this kind of ketosis, Caitlin, as compared to, say, a ketogenic diet inducing, is it's a lot more intense in the ketones. And especially as we move into days 3 and 4 and beyond, you're going to feel that all the more. But that spacey feeling that Dax is talking about, yeah, I've been kind of there. And day 2 is kind of notorious because it's like your body's just slapping you upside the head and going, all right, dummy, eat. What's going on? We don't understand. Eat.
Transition. I like to call it the transition phase. And transitions, no matter what, are never comfortable. But transitions are always where we grow the most. And so, although day 2 and typically even into day 3, you don't feel always your best,
right.
Know that at the end of that, you're going to be on a ketone high. You're going to feel amazing. So just stick it out, because that transition of going from burning your sugar in your glucose stores into tapping into your fat cells and burning fat and breaking down those proteins, that's exactly what's happening. And so just stick it out. It's right there.
And thank you for saying that, because a lot of people that eat keto think they're not really having any excess glucose anymore, but you actually are, especially if you're having the minimal carbohydrate. That's turning to glucose. You still have glycogen stores, but when you fast and you're not eating anything at all, it speeds up the dumping of those remaining glycogen stores that you do have, even in a ketogenic state, which is why I think, Dax, if people go from a standard American diet to fasting, it hurts them far more than starting in a fat-adapted, keto-adapted state.
Ouch. That's all I got to say. Go for it, Dax.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, the lead up to any fast, the water fast, is pretty important if you want to negate some of the symptoms, some of the feelings that you have going into the fast. It's really all about preparation. People just think they can eat, drink, and be merry right up until fast day, but you will pay a certain price for that.
Yes.
If you don't prepare properly.
Yeah, don't take the day before, Caitlin, and carb up, because you'll feel that the next day.
Well, and it's funny because some people who talk about fasting, that's one of the things that they say is, like, eat a whole bunch the day before, then you'll be more satiated. Well, that's actually not true.
Yeah.
It's the complete opposite. And so if you're just doing intermittent fasting, then yeah, you can have higher carbohydrates and feel okay during the intermittent fast. But if you're going to an extended or a block fast, I know you and I, Jimmy, use slightly different words to mean the same thing. You really do want to go low carb so that you're not having to burn excess glucose, and you're going to make that transition far easier than you would if you were, say, eating even really high healthy carbs.
Yes.
It will be more difficult for you to transition into that deeper ketotic state that fasting induces.
So guys, if you just came in, you're in the Keto for the Soul room. Click on that green house at the very top, and you can subscribe to all the wonderful rooms that are going on pretty much all day long. My name's Jimmy Moore. I'm the author of a book called The Complete Guide to Fasting. I'm the co-author with Dr. Jason Fung, world-renowned fasting expert. I've got Dax and Dr. Caitlin up here helping to answer questions. I know Lindsay's on her way. She had a conference call. She just texted me and will be here soon as well. But I want to pull up anyone from the audience. If you're currently joining us on this fast, you don't necessarily have to be in day 2, but if you're currently fasting and you have issues or things you want to ask about, we certainly can help. And I can tell you, last night was pretty rough. I went to bed at my normal time. I'm a very early to bed kind of guy. Just after 7 o'clock, I went to sleep. Got to sleep, was getting some really good deep sleep, and then suddenly midnight, the diarrhea thing hit, and I had to go, and then I couldn't get back to sleep. So I know a lot of people say that fasting itself, because it is a stressor on the body, can disrupt your sleep. Do you see that, Dax, in your own evidence?
Actually, I did fairly well last night sleeping. I went for a walk, about a 1.5 mile walk prior to going to bed.
Nice.
Then I took a hot shower, and actually another thing that, but I slept fairly well, Jimmy. I slept
Good.
about 6 hours. I didn't wake up once, but in preparation for bed, I do a few things that, for example, I take the hot shower. I'll go for a walk before I get ready for bed. And the other thing that I do is, and I've not heard this spoken of, I don't think, on your room. Of course, I'm not here all the time, but I do dry skin brushing.
Yeah.
And using a natural bristle brush. And that, it works really well for adding some circulatory stimulation.
Sure.
To help start removing some of the additional toxins.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even with the short sleep, Caitlin, I did grab another little cat nap this morning for about a little over an hour. But even with that, I still got good restorative sleep, couple hours of deep, and 1 hour of REM, which is my typical. So even with the shorter sleep in this fasted, stressed state, I was able to rest. So people see shorter sleep and they think, oh no, fasting messed up my sleep. It may not be messed up if you track it with an Oura Ring like I do, or Fitbit or whatever. You can see that maybe it's not as bad as you think.
Yeah, I agree. And what I want to throw out, kind of like what Dax said, and you alluded to initially, because I was going to say, Jimmy, I saw you on Clubhouse way late last night. For you. I was like,
Yeah. I was awake at midnight, and I was awake, so I was like, all right, let's see what's happening on Clubhouse, and I got pulled into a room and then pulled up on stage, and so
funny how that happens.
Yes.
But I do find that people will have disrupted or broken sleep fasting, the more toxins that they're purging, or the more insulin resistant that they are, because the adrenal glands, which help control cortisol and melatonin, they're kind of freaking out, because it's like, hold on a second, what's going on here? Because remember, fasting is inducing a healthy stress on the body, but nevertheless, it's still a stressor. And so the more dysfunction that your adrenal glands have, or the more toxicity you have, you are likely going to experience more broken down sleep. But here's the beautiful part. The more adapted you get, the less toxins that you have accumulated in your body, the less that you're going to experience that. And exactly what you said, Jimmy, these people, and myself included, I'm typically like an 8-hour sleeper. Like, I feel really good on 8 hours. When I'm fasting, I will get less than 6 hours and still feel absolutely amazing. And so it's just a matter of understanding this might happen, it's okay. And that's where those binders come in, that it might be beneficial to take a really good activated charcoal before you go to bed, just to help bind up the toxins, to reduce the cortisol response from the adrenal glands, to maybe allow you sleep a little bit better.
And back off on the salt so you don't have that emergency having to run.
Yeah, that might be... maybe don't have the bowl by you all day today.
Yeah, I have a much smaller plate today. So. Well, guys, we're going to open it up to you guys. So if you have any questions about your experience, we are officially in day 2 of my challenge. I'm in hour 54 at the moment, and so been going strong. Really shocking, though, Dax, that usually when I do these longer fasts, or at least my previous experience, I at least get a little hunger grumble in my stomach. I've yet to feel one yet.
Well, I've definitely had that. I'm hopefully getting near the end of that. The one thing that I can suggest for people that are preparing to fast, the day that I'm going to finish eating, in other words, if I'm going to, let's say, have an early dinner the day before I start a fast, about an hour or two after that, last meal, I will take a tablespoon of psyllium husk powder in 16 ounces of water. And psyllium husk powder is it's an all-natural fiber that is, and I like to take that after my last meal. And that way, as it works its way through your body, it will help push, kind of like a broom, all of the matter that is resident in your intestines. It'll help push that through, so that when you get to the point where during the fast you're cleaning out your body the rest of the way,
yes,
it'll help push that through.
Oh, but Caitlin, I can tell you with great verifiability from previous really long fasts, like 12, 13, 14 days in, there's still stuff coming out, psyllium husk or otherwise. It's wicked to people, because you think, I haven't eaten in X amount of days, what can be left in there? But it's usually a lot.
Yeah, and honestly, people have upwards of 5 pounds of fecal matter in their bodies at any given time. And so, if your digestive system isn't on track, if you're not having regular bowel movements, I just did an interview on my podcast with the Queen of Thrones, and she was talking about how you have to have a bowel movement the size of your forearm every day. And if you're not having that, and it can be broken up into, 2 or 3 bowel movements, but if you're not doing that, you literally have fecal matter compounding in your gut. And so that's one of the reasons why it can continue to come out in bits and pieces, especially as your body breaks it down and becomes more efficient at utilizing it.
Yeah, I have my next book title, Fecal Matter Freedom.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that would be a crappy book. Sorry, but let's get out of the dad jokes. And Jennifer, you're first up. Please save me, Jennifer. Are you there, Jennifer? I see you flashing at me.
Sorry about that. I was trying to turn my microphone on. So I'm in day 2 also, and feeling really pretty good. I did have a tough time last night when my kids were eating dinner.
Yes.
And just the food smells in the house, I think. But then I had this salted water, and that did really help. and that's been nice. But I've also experienced some of what you're talking about with maybe overdoing the salt a little
Yes.
bit this morning. So it's good to hear. I'm going to back off the salt a little bit. I slept really well last night. I took a nice walk, also, like Dax mentioned, and in the evening, and then I took a nice hot bath in Epsom salts, and that was nice.
Nice.
And I slept really well all night last night. And then this morning I have a busy day today, so this morning I decided, okay, I am going to have a cup of coffee, and so I had a cup of black coffee this morning with nothing else in it, and wow, did I feel the caffeine.
Yeah.
It hit me hard. So, and I kind of got shaky, and normally I drink probably 2 to 3 cups of coffee, usually 2 cups of coffee a day. And so I definitely, tomorrow's a better day for me.
Yes.
So I'm going to try and do the rest without caffeine.
I'm interviewing you tomorrow. You better not have a cup of coffee when we're on the air.
Okay. I just full disclosure here. I was real worried about just being super groggy today, and I had a lot of things on my plate today. So, but then let's see, what else was I going to mention? Oh, I was going to ask, what about bubble water? I have a soda stream, and I was wondering, is it okay to just do a little bit of carbonated water with nothing else in it?
Unflavored, no sweetener, no nothing, just water with bubbles?
Yes.
I don't see why that would be a problem. Dax or Caitlin?
Yeah, because you're just using like the hydrogen canisters, right, to add essentially CO2 to the water. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. It's just a soda stream,
I mean, the only thing I can think of is it might cause, if the bubbles get in there and expand your stomach, might kind of stoke an insulin response, maybe?
It might, make you a little bit more hungry, but if you're making it yourself, you're using a really clean water source, then you try it out, see what happens. It doesn't hurt to experiment with it a little bit, since there's nothing else added to it.
Okay, well, I was thinking, just some of that little bit of tummy grumbles. Sometimes a little carbonated water for me is settling to my stomach, so I thought I would try that, and then just continue with just water for the rest of the fast.
So, Jennifer, tell yourself it's champagne, and
yeah.
you're good to go.
Yeah. But so far so good. I actually feel really, really good today. So I wasn't so sure last night, but then today I'm feeling real good.
Is this the longest you've ever fasted?
Yes, this is, now into hour 42. This is the
Yes.
longest I've ever fasted.
I want you to stop and enjoy that you have done something you've never done in your life before. Every time I leave one of these fasts, people are like, I never did anything more than 18 hours. And then 72 hours in, they're like, holy crap, I've gone 72 hours to like celebrate this. And you're not done. You're keeping going. Go at least to our podcast interview and then evaluate from there.
That sounds really good. I'll plan on that.
Yes. Well, thank you, Jennifer, for that. And thanks for checking in. Congratulations. Over on the Jimmy on Clubhouse Instagram page, Dr. Kat says, I'm very curious to hear the panel's take on oil pulling while fasting. And I would assume this is where you swish coconut oil around in your mouth, you guys, and it helps to clean, and it's kind of a substitution for brushing your teeth with traditional toothpaste. I assume, Kat, your concern is that you might accidentally swallow some of the fat. Is this a concern for you guys?
I actually don't recommend it on a fast, just because even if you don't swallow any, when it's in your mouth, it's creating excess saliva, which can then increase, the hunger response, not to mention start to stimulate digestion.
Yes.
And so I really don't recommend it. And for some people, I don't even recommend using a toothpaste when they're doing longer fasts, because that can also stimulate digestion and enzymatic hormones being released. So I typically have people just either dry brush or tongue scrape, and that tends to do the job and be really well. Now, I know if you're in close contact with people, you might want to still use a toothpaste, but make sure that there's no added sugars or anything like that, because that could actually make your fasting a little bit harder.
Well, and because you're inducing a heavy state of ketosis, especially over the next few days of this fast, there is the notion that you get halitosis. And so, yeah, having something, I remember Dr. Atkins in his books talked about chewing on cinnamon bark would do a similar kind of thing. What do you do for that, Dax?
Actually, I do all my brushing just with salt. It's an antibacterial component. That's why people gargle with salt if they have sore throats. It doesn't stimulate, as far as I know, any digestive start. Also, you brought up the tongue scraping. That is a phenomenal way to help remove, because that's one of your tongue is an eliminative organ as well. Your skin's your largest eliminative organ, but it's fasting is not really a great way to find a date if you're in the middle of it, because it can produce some body odors and some bad breath. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. I did want to say something about, since Dr. Caitlin brought it up, I didn't start this, but I just wanted to say, she had mentioned that, and this might have scared some people, the fact that most people have at least 5 pounds of accumulations in their intestines that they've accumulated over their lifetime. One of the things that fasting does, and the longer you fast, the more you'll notice this, and this is part of the result that you got, Jimmy, about getting bowel movements 10, 15 days into a long fast.
Yep.
And that is, as your body starts to perform more efficiently, the peristaltic movements in your intestinal tract are much more efficient, much better at cleaning you out, and they will actually start to dislodge some of that accumulated matter.
And what's fun about that too, Dax, is when you go back to eating again, it's almost like you got a clean whistle, and so it can take a little bit to start forming the fecal matter again, which is a good thing. And yeah, I remember, like, after I did one of my 21-day fasts, I was paying attention. It took like 3 or 4 days before I had a number 2. I had to go number 2 because there was nothing in there. It was squeaky clean.
Well, Jimmy, that's very true. The fact that you're not taking anything in for that period of time, it will clean you out. Now, probably in this discussion in day 4, 5, 6, at some point, I'm sure you'll want to start discussing coming off the fast properly.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah, we're going to hit that one really hard. Day 2's definitely not. No, I don't want anybody to think about that yet. I'm trying to get them through the hell that is day 2. So those of you up here on the panel, as we ask you, tell us if day 2 sucks. It's okay if it sucks, because it sucks for us too. You're not alone. It's a tough day. If you get past day 2, you're doing something. All right, let's get back to the people who have come up on stage. Leslie, you're up next.
Oh, I was wondering if you've talked about autophagy during fasting before.
Yeah, we hit this one pretty darn hard in day number 1, so definitely go back and watch the replay over on the Jimmy on Clubhouse Instagram page. We posted that one there yesterday. It's also up on YouTube. If you do a search for Jimmy on Clubhouse, I put it up there. 2 hours we talked yesterday and answered all kinds of questions. And yeah, I think about 15 minutes of that was just about autophagy. So just a quick recap of what autophagy is. Caitlin, can you give like the Cliff's Notes?
Yeah, so autophagy means to self-eat. And most people, when they hear that, they go, oh God, that's not something that, I want to do, but it's really a good thing because your body's not going to break down healthy functioning cells. It's going to break down old, worn out, senescent cells. And so the beautiful part is, as you go through fasting, the longer you abstain from eating and stimulating your GI tract, you're going to see different benefits at different hours. And so the research is showing right now that fasting happens somewhere between 16 and 18 hours because everyone's slightly different. But by 36 hours, your autophagy has increased by 300%. And so what that means is your body's becoming far more efficient at cleaning up, breaking down those old proteins, those misfolded proteins. Those cells are no longer forming or functioning ideally. And so it's really a beautiful thing. And when we break old cells down, we're creating a space for new cells, new functioning cells, new stem cells to take its place and have the proper function. So if you're looking for like a fasting timeline, you can go to my Instagram page and scroll through there and find it.
And you say that you do about 3 to 4 of these a year, every few months, this kind of 1 week to do that and induce the autophagy. Is that the purpose, is to just keep those benefits going, making sure everything's clean?
Yeah, sorry, I had a little tickle in my throat. So you don't want to be doing these longer fasts too regularly because we can create what's called like mineral deficiencies and things like that.
Right.
But what I typically do is, one every 3, one every 4 months, just to keep everything cleaned up, keep my hormones in check, and it really is a great time to both mentally and emotionally detox as well, take a step back, slow things down, and really just start fresh. But the research does show if you just do it one time a year, it has such amazing benefits as well, even just doing it one time a year.
Yes. Did that help you, Leslie?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, kind sir. Dax, I wonder if doing these fasts in the schedule that Caitlin's doing, where you're doing it about 3 to 4 times a year, I wonder if one of the benefits is actually the psychological benefits of accomplishing something like this. That has to have some play in this. Obviously, the physiological, the autophagy, the giving your pancreas a break, all the physiology of it. But from a psychological standpoint, when you do, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, when you do a full week of fasting and you make that accomplishment, it really empowers you mentally that you can really do anything. And that has benefits that go well beyond the fasting itself.
Yeah, Jimmy, the fasting experience, and let's use the time frame of a week or a block of a week for Caitlin. The fasting experience is kind of a microcosm of a life experience. Let's say you try to start a business and you work real hard and you overcome obstacles and you get to the finish line and you can reflect and enjoy your success. Well, fasting encompasses a lot of those exact feelings in a short time span. So you start the fast, you're all gung-ho, boy, I can do this, I can't wait to be cleaned out. Then you hit the rough waters and you have the brain fog and you have the hunger pangs and the feeling of some people feel sickness, probably because of a large amount of toxins being released into the bloodstream to be removed. But then you reach day 4 and sometime in between day 3 and day 4, and you start to enjoy that freedom and that release from that toxicity. And there is an absolute psychological, spiritual freedom that is felt generally around the day 4 range that just grows exponentially to the end of the fast. And you feel that immense satisfaction that comes with completing something that was difficult to do. And there's a bit of a feeling of, I'm kind of in a unique group of people that actually do this and have completed these. And it makes you want to do it again even before you complete the fast you're on.
Yes, and we'll talk about this a little bit later. I'll come to you in a second, Caitlin. We'll talk about this later in the week. But when you're done fasting and you break the fast and you go back to feasting again, you're going to have this propensity to want to fast some more. It's the weirdest feeling because it's almost like the Newton's second law of thermodynamics kicking in, Caitlin, that you want to kind of keep that benefit going.
Oh, absolutely. And Dax, you bring up such a great point that you have this almost spiritual, emotional, like high on day 4 along with the mental clarity. But sometimes what can happen is day 2 or day 3 prior to that, you can have like an emotional crash, and all of these like built up feelings of whatever you're experiencing can literally come to a head, and you can end up crying or feeling really overwhelmed. And just know that that is completely normal. You don't have to experience that either. But that is part of the detoxification, the fasting, the releasing. You are also, other than releasing toxins and clearing things out, you are releasing other emotions too, as long as you're open to that. Have you noticed that happen, Jimmy, at all? Because that's something I've experienced a few times, especially in the longer block fasts.
Oh, for sure. It's almost become axiomatic at this point, just because you notice the patterns. When you do these often, you start noticing patterns. Like Dax said earlier, I'm not surprised by anything that happens in a fast. You just kind of go, all right, I'm in this phase of the fast. And like, I love the fact that fasting is almost a test of survival of the fittest, so to speak, of you get past that really, really hard part, and you're rewarded on the other side of it. And the other side is far longer than that little temporary day and a half that you have of difficulty, which is why when I teach about fasting, I always say, get to day 2 and maybe into day 3 a little bit. I promise you, if you get on the other side of those days, you'll want to fast indefinitely because you'll feel like you could do it forever.
Jimmy, can I just
become addictive?
Yes. Go, Dax.
Can I just
Go, Dax.
comment on what Caitlin said there? A number of years ago, I lost my mom, and I shut myself down, pretty much numbed myself to the experience because there was so much to deal with in terms of all of the, the legal things and the familial things you have to deal with. But about 2.5 months later, I did a 7-day fast. And on between day 2 and day 3, I just completely broke down. I wept and wept and wept, and I didn't know if I didn't know if I could drink enough water to supply the tears. But it was an incredible. Initially, it felt like a crash, but as I continued, I started to come through that event and that emotional upheaval with a clarity over the whole loss that I don't think I could have had or would have had I not gone through that fast at that time. And there was a healing and just a feeling of lightness at the end of the fast that as if I had dealt with all of my emotions that I had kept cooped up all that time.
Yeah, and over on Instagram, Clem says, all of this sounds really scary. Has anyone ever fallen into an eating disorder while on an extended fast? I only ask this because I have a 20-year-old niece that quit eating when she was in college. Have you seen any patients? Now, obviously, they're under your care, Caitlin, but have you seen any patients that kind of have this tendency to want to do it, but do it in a dangerous way?
Not when they're working with somebody directly one-on-one, because doing extended fast, that's why it's not recommended to do it super often, because you feel so good when you do it. But keep in mind, we're inducing a state of starvation, and Jimmy covered starvation versus fasting yesterday, so if you guys didn't listen to that, go back and listen to it on his channels. But we also have to replenish, rebuild in order to have a healthy balance. And so my clients don't go through that because I ensure that they're getting, the right amino acids, the right minerals and vitamins, that they're getting the right building blocks, whether it be through food or if they have other issues going on using certain supplements outside of the fast to support them. But if somebody has an eating disorder to begin with, block fasting, extended fasting is not recommended.
Yes.
Because it can put them in that downward spiral of, oh, this is normal, this is okay, and then they just don't eat, and that becomes very dangerous.
Yes. Thank you for that clarification, Dr. Caitlin. Mark, you're up next. What you got? Mark, going once.
Sorry. It took me a second to unmute myself.
No worries.
So my question to you is, I love the detoxification aspect of it, and after a couple of days, I do get that sort of nicer feeling. It's tougher at the beginning, and that's gratifying. But the thing that I worry about, because I'm on a weight loss journey, is I have noticed, and I've also heard Dr. Fung talk about it, this business of when you're starving your body after a certain amount of time, doesn't your metabolism, reset a little and go downward, so that when you stop, your metabolism is a lower point. It's harder to take weight off.
Actually, that's a misnomer, and you did not hear that out of the mouth of Dr. Fung, I promise you, because we wrote a book together, and one of the things he underscored to me that when I do interviews, he said, make sure you tell people fasting, which we're defining as probably anything under like 150 calories, that's still a fast. I think 0 is technically a good fast. Anything under that is actually going to rev up your metabolism by about 12 to 14%. And what happens though is it's the people that have the bone broth and they have the kombucha and they have the bulletproof coffee and they think they're still fasting, and yet they eat a hypocaloric state, which would be over that 150, 200 calories. Then their body says, well, wait a minute, we're getting fed. So it sends all these signals that you need to eat, you need to eat, you need to eat. And then when you don't, then is when that basal metabolic rate will slow down. So two different beasts. It's far better to eat no food at all than to eat a little bit of food and tell your body you're eating, but then don't eat enough.
I'm so glad you brought up
Thank
low
you.
calories, because if we put ourselves in a low caloric state all the time or for an extended period of time, our body does go into starvation mode, and it starts to hold on to everything and anything that you are eating, just in case the little food that you are consuming goes even less. And so this is an ancestral thing that our bodies have been doing for years, because we'd have to, in the past, we didn't always have grocery stores on every corner to be able to go pick up food. We'd have to either hunt it or find it or grow it or whatever it may be. And so if we do low calorie for extended periods of time, our bodies absolutely will slow our metabolism down. But low calories is not the same as low carbohydrates or fasting. Those are very, very, very different metabolic states that you can put yourself into.
Yep. Does that answer your question, Mark?
Yes, that's good information. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Meg, you're back today. What you got for us today?
Hey, y'all already answered my question, so I was trying to figure out how to slip back into the audience.
Oh, I'll get you down. Mel, you're up next. Mel, what's up?
Hey, I'm here. Hi, friend. Thank you.
Yes.
This is such a great conversation. I'm really loving everything. So I'm trying to process in my mind what a next step for me would be. So with that, I've been fasting for about 5 years, and I kind of do the same fast every day. I eat between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. and that works really well for me. And you guys have really piqued my interest now in terms of a longer fast. The thing that I'm not sure about is, if I just do a 2-day fast, is that just going to send me under completely in terms of not feeling great? Or do I have to do a longer fast to get the benefits?
Oh, don't misunderstand us. My goal with this fast was 7 days. If you do 24 hours of fasting, you're getting benefit. If you're doing 48 hours of fasting, you're getting benefit. I think sometimes we get caught up in it's an either or proposition. You're either doing intermittent fasting, which you're doing brilliant now. You've done for 5 years and it's working for you. Kudos. I think you should switch it up every once in a while and not just do the same intermittent fast every day. Maybe do intermittent fast what you're doing now one day, then the next day do OMAD, then the next day eat, a lot of food, like have a full day of food, but then the next day don't eat at all. Kind of mix it up because that's going to really give you the benefits. But no, to answer your question and how I answer this for people is you don't have to do an extended fast. You could do 48 hours, but I'm thinking if you put in all that work to get to 48 hours, go a little longer because you went through the hell part of a fast. Why not see it to the part where you actually feel good? So that would be my argument. Dax, what do you think?
Well, Mel, I think that any length of fast is good. I know people personally who will fast for 18 hours, 24 hours, 36 hours, and they'll do that weekly. And they do it every week throughout the year. Any rest that you give your digestive system is going to be beneficial for you. Obviously, these longer fasts, like we're talking about right now, 7-day fast, I kind of, to give you a metaphor, it's a bit like taking your car down to a mechanic's garage, and they put it up on blocks. You can't drive it for a week, but during that week, they're going to overhaul the entire engine. They're going to clean up all the upholstery, vacuum the floors, and it's going to come back looking and running more like new. So you're giving yourself a chance for your body's mechanisms to cleanse and detoxify your body so that it will function much more efficiently. And to a point made a little bit ago, that better efficiency also applies to a better, hotter running metabolism.
Mel, you're going to have a Lamborghini soon, Mel, if you do this.
Jimmy, do you mind if I chime in for a quick
Yeah,
second?
go ahead, Caitlin. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Absolutely nothing to be sorry about.
I was being silly with Mel. So.
Completely agree with everything that you said, Jimmy, with the importance of changing it up. We as humans are creatures of habit, and we tend to get stuck in doing the same thing over and over again. So, like, our work week, we'll do and eat the same way, and then come weekends, we'll do the same thing. But I'm actually going to challenge every single one on here to change things up, because depending on the length of time that you are restraining from eating, you're going to have different benefits, from autophagy to increasing growth hormone to having your insulin levels drop massively to creating stem cells. And so by constantly changing up the length of fasting you're doing, you're actually creating a more metabolically flexible you. And that's where everything that Dax said is 100% true. You're literally changing things up, just like you would in the gym. You wouldn't do the same exercise over and over and over again, months in, years in, and expect to continuously improve. And the same thing has to happen with the food that we eat and the timing in which we eat our food, so intermittent fasting and block fasting. So I'm just going to challenge everybody to change up what they're doing and not get stuck doing the same thing over and over again.
So Mel, is this curious to you? You want to try to give it a go, at least the 48 to 72?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I do change things up, Dr. Caitlin, you're absolutely right. And, as I'm getting older, I've noticed my body needs different things, and sometimes I OMAD. That 2 to 7 window was just roughly what I do on average. I do change things up, but you guys have really, really presented a good argument. So thank you. I need to find a time that I'm not recipe creating.
Yes.
And get this done. One very quick last question.
Yeah, what you got?
Would you recommend being busy whilst doing a fast, or trying to carve out some chill time?
Well, I mentioned yesterday that some of my best book writing time was when I was fasting, because you get back the time. You also have the extra money that you're not spending on the food for that week. You also have great clarity of mind because you're power packing your brain with lots of ketones so you'll be at your height. So if you have something creative that you could, occupy your time and your mind with, that's the time to do it. So highly recommend that.
And then slow down at night. Give yourself the time to relax and meditate or read, reflect, whatever it may be. But I'm with you, Jimmy. I find, and actually this may be a good time, Mel, when you are fasting, to do the creative part of the recipes, like dream up these amazing recipes, write them all down, and then once you're done fasting, actually try them out in the kitchen and tweak them.
Yeah, I love all these ideas. Thank you. I appreciate your time, all of you.
Thank you, Mel. And yeah, this week I've had so much creativity in my head. I'm like, stop it. I don't need to necessarily think right now. And so kind of put you on overdrive. But Ruby Latoya, you're up next. What you got for us?
Hello, Jimmy, and
hey
to the moderators. It's so good to be in a room with you guys again.
Same.
I did not know that you were doing a 7-day water fast challenge, but I want to let you know that me and the group that I'm in, we started a water challenge as well.
Nice.
As of right now, Sunday, at 5 o'clock was the last time that I took in any food.
Yes.
I have been only doing water. The only thing I've done is added chia seed to my water sometimes, but that's about it. But I was feeling very groggy, very sluggish. If you remember in the previous room, I talked about how I work overnights and how my body is.
Yep.
And so I had a headache all night. And so this morning, before I got off, I drank a cup of coffee. I want to know, did I break my fast?
No. Black coffee?
Okay.
Black coffee?
Yes, black coffee.
No creamer, no sweetener, no nothing?
No creamer. No creamer.
Yeah, you're fine. But earlier, Jennifer was telling her experience, how she had a cup of black coffee and she got extremely jittery and she's used to several cups. Did you have any effects like that?
Well, the thing is, I always have that effect when I have coffee because I'm not a caffeine drinker normally. So I kind of knew that was going to happen, but
yeah,
I guess I rather felt more up than down, which is difficult because, like I said, I worked overnight and I'm still woke in this afternoon now.
Yes.
So I need to find a way to get myself, level so that I can sleep because I have to go to work tonight.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to make sure that I didn't break the fast, and also I came in a room when someone was talking about the benefits of different days of fasting. And I know that they always say, like, after 3 days, that's when some other stuff starts going on.
Yeah.
It's a group of 10 of us. And within the group, everybody's fasting for different reasons. Some because they're going into veganism. Some because they want to start keto. Some they just want to jumpstart a healthy lifestyle. For me, I wanted something more internal and spiritual.
Yep.
So, if you guys already went through it, I'm sorry. But can someone please tell me the benefits when you go more than 3 days? This is the second time I've tried to go this long. I tried to go an 11-day fast. I made it to day 9, and then I had broth.
Yeah,
but
9's amazing.
Broth will break the fast, but I did have broth on day 9. And then I turned around in day 10, I water fasted again. And then day 11, I took in a fruit, like a juice. I blended up my own juice with spinach and stuff. And so, but I felt so good afterwards. And in the beginning, I was very hungry. I thought about food all the time. I like what Caitlin said about thinking of recipes because I was doing it all day. Like, oh my goodness, when it's time to eat, I'm going to eat this. And I thought that was going to make me be tempted, but it didn't. And it worked, it worked really good for me. I felt so good. I felt so happy that I was able to get through those days without even trying to take a bite or a piece of anything. And my daughter even cooked breakfast yesterday morning. She made some turkey bacon and her eggs, and I just inhaled, and it just smelled so good. And I was able to get satisfied just from smelling that. So I know that there are benefits of water fasting. A lot of people say, oh, no, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. You got to have food. I feel good now. It's only been since I haven't eaten anything since Sunday at 5 o'clock. But I'm looking forward to it. And I'm so glad that you're doing this challenge. And I'm happy to do it with you. And I'm always happy to get in this room and to learn more.
Ruby Latoya, ping me into your room later. If you guys are doing a group fast, I would love to hear your experiences, and because I'm always learning myself. But you asked over 3 days, what are the benefits? I don't know, mental clarity improving, concentration, body fat loss, lower blood sugar, more improved insulin sensitivity, increased energy, increased fat burning, lower blood cholesterol, including triglycerides, preventing Alzheimer's disease, extending life, reversing aging, decreasing inflammation. Shall I continue?
Oh, that is wonderful. You know what? I'm on the keto diet journey because I do want to lose weight. However,
Yes.
I'm not necessarily trying to lose weight with the fast. But just to let someone in the audience know, like I said, I haven't eaten since Sunday at 5. I've lost 7 pounds, guys.
Yes. So since Sunday night, and it's Tuesday. So yeah. So I mentioned this yesterday that of the weight loss that you lose on a fast, about 0.25 to 0.5, so up to a half a pound, is all you're really actually losing. People like to put a lot of emphasis on that total number. So by the end of a week, Ruby Latoya, you might lose 12 pounds, but then you gain back 8 or 9 of it. That's completely normal, and people freak out about that. I'm like, you haven't been eating for a week. What do you expect happens when you start eating again? But it's the cumulative effects, and you are bringing sunshine to this room today. Thank you for sharing. I'm real curious, though. You mentioned water. Are you doing salt as well?
Oh, I have not. Should I add the pink Himalayan? I've
Yeah.
only been doing water, and sometimes I put chia seeds in it.
Yeah, so chia seeds can add fat, and I'm sure you're not putting that many in there. I would say add in that pink Himalayan sea salt. Yesterday, Dr. Caitlin was talking about if it's rock salt, you could, suck it underneath your tongue just like you would a piece of candy, and it gives you such nourishment and satiation and mineralization so that you get those electrolytes balanced. That'll make sure that you stay strong through the whole fast.
Oh, that sounds good. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Ruby
I was gonna
Latoya.
say, Jimmy, Ruby Latoya, maybe switch out the chia seeds for the salt.
Yes.
And
Okay, no
see
problem.
what
I can do
happens.
that.
I think you'll get better results.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, because the chia seeds in an eating standpoint make sense. And I love that little gelatin they make when you leave them in the water. And it's kind of ooey gooey, makes like a nice pudding. But that's when you're eating. But Dr. Caitlin is exactly right. It would be better to not have that, at least while you're fasting. Then make your chia seed pudding later. For sure.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruby Latoya. Brian, you're up next. What you got, bro?
Hey, good afternoon, Jimmy, and thank you for taking my question. Well, I got a couple of comments, I should say. I'm happy to report my keto level just a few minutes ago, 3.5, and my glucose of 65. So I'm deep.
Woo! That's almost a GKI. That GKI is almost 1-to-1.
Actually, it's a 1.0, actually.
Yeah.
So, yep, got it there. So, one thing I noticed last night. So last night was a little challenging for me because I had I don't really normally get headaches, but I had headaches last night. So I was like trying to figure out, like, well, maybe it's because, I'm not eating enough salt. So, of course, I'm hydrating and salting, and I just noticed it wasn't getting any better. And I realized I think I was eating too much salt, which I guess that happens sometimes. Have you?
What was your clue?
Something like that?
What was your clue? Because we talked about this at the very beginning. You might not have been here yet.
Missed it.
When I had diarrhea because I was eating too much salt. Is that what you were getting?
No, nothing. No GI upset. It was just like I just had that dull headache, and it's funny because I kind of stopped the salt and it just increased the water, and the headache started going away. So
Okay.
I thought to myself, maybe it was
Could that be a sodium imbalance, Caitlin, that might cause the headache like that?
It could be, or it could also be toxins being released,
Ah.
and you're just not eliminating them as effectively. So that's really where a good clean binder could really benefit you, just to make sure everything that you are releasing from fasting is being eliminated.
Yeah, good point. I never thought about that, but So anyway, I just wanted to check in and I think I'm there as far as like feeling pretty good. It's almost like a euphoric feeling right now.
Yes.
And,
Floaty.
Say again?
I said floaty is how I describe it.
Yep, that's exactly right. Now, I just want to clarify one more thing, Jimmy, before I go. Was it day 2 or day 3 that's really bad?
Day 2. Yeah, day 2, and it's going to vary from person to person, but most of the people that I poll, like the vast majority, day 2 is the suckage, like hour 36 through 48 just is brutal. And that's what I had last night. I'm into hour like 52, 53 now, and I feel fantastic.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm getting that way. I just want to make sure I'm done with the worst part. It sounds like I am.
So, is this the longest you've ever fasted, Brian?
Yes, it is. I've done the 24 a couple times, and I always practice the intermittent fasting. So this is like I did a couple 24-hour fasts, and I think I may have done a 36 at one point.
Yeah.
I don't remember it, but this is definitely the longest I've ever been, and this is such a great thing you're doing. I mean, just I love these check-ins. I love the information you're providing, and it's awesome. So I'm going to try to do this like 4 times a year. Yeah, I think this is a great thing to do. It's kind of like a cleansing situation. So, yeah, I'm my wife thinks I'm nuts, but that's okay. She'll get over it. And then also too, one more thing I got to get going, but I just want to say too, I'm very cold. I feel like
yes.
My grandparents used to back when they were in Florida. They had the heat cranked up to 80. I'm freezing, and I have a feeling that's probably because of my metabolism. Is that correct?
Yeah, we talked about this one as well yesterday. Dax, any comments on the cold?
Yeah, Jimmy, the cold, your body is going through a lot of different processes than it's used to. And the cold could be partly because of lower circulation, maybe a temporary lower metabolism. You're not, and quite frankly, you don't have any fuel, ready-made glucose fuel to burn. So there's a lot of ways to mitigate those feelings. You can take a hot shower, hot bath. Jimmy recommends a hot Epsom salts bath. That sounds good to me. I like to, if I'm watching TV, I like to sit down and put a hot water bottle on my stomach underneath my shirt. It just tends to warm my core. But there's a number electric blanket if you're in bed. That's a good way to improve your comfort in bed. But just use some mechanical means to help warm you up.
Good idea. Yeah, thank you. And also, too, I got to enjoy that sunlight in Arizona. It's sunny outside. It's going to be in the 70s here, so I should probably go outside and warm up that way as well. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate everything.
I said, duh, Brian. That's advisable.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of the afternoon, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. I see we have our fellow moderator up here, Lindsay. What's up, Lindsay?
Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late. I had other commitments, but glad to be with you now.
Yeah, we're just jibber-jabbering in day number 2. And you're actively fasting with us, Lindsay?
You betcha.
You betcha. So what hour are you in, and any kind of how you feel today?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, I'm feeling really good, actually. I'd have to do the calculations on the hour, but yeah. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, I was talking at the beginning about having some diarrhea, and Dax kind of nailed me on, I think you're taking in too much salt, Jay. So I'm back off the salt, and nobody gets hurt. Yeah, so it's a tricky balance. This is kind of good teaching tool, and I've done a bunch of these, and I still oversalt. Well, let's get to the next person up here. Good friend of mine, Kim. What's up, Kim? Kim going once. Kim hit the little button. Oh, she dropped off. Oh, she came back. She put herself back in the audience, you guys. Kim, I'm going to have to make fun of you because you put yourself in the audience. First time on stage, Kim. Talk. What you got for us?
Let's see. I'm 42 hours in now.
Nice.
And like I was saying before, I don't know if anybody else has this issue. One, I'm having to force myself to drink water because I just don't feel like I need to. I'm not thirsty, anything like that. And although I use Redmond sea salt, I think I used to do that lemonade cleanse back in the day a lot. And you do saltwater flushes because of the reasons we were talking earlier, to be able to clean out. And I can't stand the taste of salt plain.
And she's got the good salt too, you guys. She's got the Redmonds like I have. And
I'm putting little fingerfuls in my mouth, and it's just making me queasy.
Yikes. So is there an alternative, Lindsay, since we haven't had you answer anybody yet, an alternative to doing salt that she could do, maybe some other form of electrolytes?
Yeah, I use a product. It doesn't taste the greatest, I'll be honest with you. It's called 40,000 volts. You can get it on Amazon. That's another thing that I've used. Also, I'm sure Dr. Caitlin talked about Fast Tonic, but there's also a product called Min that I like to use. You can get it through a healthcare practitioner typically, and it's a mineral supplement you can take in a capsule form.
Anybody else on the panel want to chime in?
Yeah, Jimmy.
Hang on, Dax. Go ahead, Dax.
I was just going to say there's a company called Hammer Nutrition, and they're out of Minnesota. And they make, I do a lot of cycling in the summer, and they make what I believe is the best electrolyte replacement you can buy. It's and the product is called Endrolytes, and it is a full spectrum electrolyte replacement. But it's in a capsule, so there's no sugar, there's no anything like that,
and no taste.
No
For
taste,
Kim,
right?
that's what's bothering her.
Yep, and so you can take those, and that would be a way to keep your electrolytes replaced. Their website is hammernutrition.com. Hammer is like a hammer, HAMMER, all one word, nutrition.com. But they sell a product called Endrolytes, and it's a full spectrum electrolyte replacement.
Yep. Caitlin?
I was just going to say, if you're not thirsty and you're really having no symptoms, then, just write it out. And you are going to know your body better than anybody. So, drink water so that, you're hydrated, but don't drink so much that you're like, oh God, I don't feel well now. And if you don't
I feel great. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, if you don't need the salts, then don't use them. Just be mindful, though, that if any symptoms do come on, that it could be that you're dumping your electrolytes and you just need to replace them.
Well,
right into your body.
And yesterday,
Jimmy?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dax.
All right, just one more thing related to that. The first 10 years that I fasted, and that first 10 years I didn't do anything longer than a 10-day fast, but the first 10 years I did not use any electrolytes. I, in a way, kind of didn't know better, but it was just strictly purified water. So I've been successful in the past not using any electrolytes. It's just, I think, a safer thing to do.
Well, and in our book, The Complete Guide to Fasting, we said to stay ahead of the hunger. So that means, striking with some of these things you've heard talked about. I mentioned keto, chow, fasting drops yesterday. They're concentrated sodium and magnesium, so you're not tasting a saltiness. It is a mineraliness when you add it to your water, but it's another option as well. So you got lots of options, Kim.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Jennifer, you came back on stage. What you got?
I did. I forgot to ask one more question, and also just wanted to comment how much I really am enjoying this group too, and really appreciate all the information and support. It's been wonderful. Dr. Caitlin, I wanted to ask about the binder that you were talking about, charcoal. Could you recommend a product there as well, please?
Yeah, the one that I use two, and I will rotate them, but I will either use True Carbon Cleanse is the name of it, or Bind, and it's just called Bind. And the reason that I use those is they've been third-party tested to make sure that there's no impurities, no heavy metals, anything like that. Because anytime that we start talking about using a charcoal in nature is very absorbent, and so we don't want to be taking something that has already absorbed impurities, because then when we take it, we get exposed to it. So those are the two that I personally use, and I think Lindsay uses the same ones that I do.
Yes, I do. High quality.
Okay, True Carbon.
And Bind.
Carbon Cleanse.
Okay.
Is it's a little bit different. It has more of a zeolite versus some of the carbon. And Bind has a higher binding carbon capacity. So that's going to be really, really good for like binding up biotoxins and things like that. Because as we detox, as our body starts to break down fat cells, if we have any biotoxins or even some of the heavy metals within our body, it will be released into our system. And so we just want to make sure that it's being bound up in our gut versus being reabsorbed by the bile and then getting redistributed in through the gallbladder, liver, and then really anywhere. So those are the two that I use.
And if you've never taken activated charcoal, it is magic. Like if you start to feel bad when you first start fasting, it does mitigate those effects.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jennifer. Lindsay?
And you can always DM myself, or I'm sure Dr. Caitlin, if you would like to be redirected on how to order those specifically, if you didn't want to go get something.
Yeah. Thank you, Jennifer. Jacqueline, you're up on the stage. What you got for us?
Hey guys, it was cool timing that I saw you're having a cleanse, because today I just started a cleanse, but it's a little bit off topic. I was just curious if any of you experienced kidney pain, and that's why I'm cleansing, is I'm thinking
So you're breaking in and out, Jacqueline, but I think you said, is anybody experiencing kidney pain while they're fasting, or that was the reason for fasting? Is that what you were saying, Jacqueline? Yes.
Yeah, so the reason I'm starting to fast because I have a diet probably too high in oxalates, and I was just wondering if any of recommendations during my fast.
So why jump to a fast if it's an oxalate issue? Just eliminate oxalates from your diet, which is what a carnivore diet does for the most part. What's making you jump to a fast? Not that I'm discouraging you, I'm just curious.
Well, I've fasted before, and I definitely see the benefits in it, and I need to do a fast anyway, so
Sure.
it's kind of my prompting.
Kill two birds with one stone. Yes.
I totally respect each individual's choice on eating. I prefer not to eat that way, but so that's why I'm just fasting.
Oh, I got you.
In general.
I got you.
But yeah, I was just wondering if there's any recommendations specifically for kidney health.
Caitlin?
That is a loaded question.
Yes.
Especially since I cannot give any type of medical advice on here because I don't know your labs. I don't know what's causing the kidney pain. But what I would recommend is that you get some labs done to see what exactly is happening. Is your kidney pain actually a kidney problem? Is it an inflammatory problem? Is it a gut problem? Is it like there's so many potential causes, and each one of those would have a different recommendation. So,
and if lowering oxalates is your goal, I would try to eliminate oxalates from the diet. Now, I understand you said you had problems with the carnivore diet, but certainly a lot of plant matter contains high oxalates. So just kind of identify what those things are. All right. Thank you, Jacqueline. Appreciate it. Did we answer your question? Her connection is not very good. We're going to move on to VJ. What you got, VJ?
Hey, Jimmy. Hi, everyone.
Hey, bud.
I have a quick question, and maybe it is not very much related to the fasting challenge, but I thought it is worth asking. And feel free to tell me that's not the question here for this room, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So I've been trying all these different fasting methods or other different diets, from Whole30 to going on the high protein to to no protein diet. And one thing I've consistently trying to research is the amount of protein needed, because I also do the workout. So the amount of protein needed by a human body per pound of the weight.
And I found this to be very frustrating, that there is no clear answer.
Right. So
how much protein is needed and how much protein is good
yeah.
for longevity versus, just what is normal protein needed for the human body.
So Vijay, thank you for asking this question here, but we are sticking to fasting only questions. I'm a stickler about that because I'm a longtime podcaster and I don't like getting off topic of what we're talking about. There are plenty of rooms though in Keto for the Soul. There's a lot of kind of general rooms, so definitely pop into any of them throughout the day. I appreciate you coming up on stage, but I do like to stay focused on the topic we're talking about. I have an answer to that. If you want to DM me, and I'm sure anybody on the stage would be happy to help you with that question. If you want a personalized answer, I'd be happy to help you. But yeah, we're just talking about fasting today, brother.
Okay, no problem, Jimmy. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir. All right, guys, we still have time. It looks like we lost Dr. Caitlin. She might have been going through a tunnel or something. I don't know what happened. She just fell off the face of the planet suddenly. So let's reset the room. You are in Keto for the Soul. Go to the top of the page. You'll see that little green house. Click on it. You can subscribe to this Clubhouse. It's one of the top keto rooms all across Clubhouse. Growing. I love Keto for the Soul. I hang out pretty much all day long in these rooms, lead my own rooms. My name's Jimmy Moore. I'm the international best-selling author of The Complete Guide to Fasting. There's Caitlin. I knew you'd come back, Caitlin. You just fell off like a rock just suddenly.
I know. A phone call kicked me out.
Oh, I hate it. That's you know what. So Keto for the Soul is where we're here all day. Jimmy Moore, I'm leading this 7-day fast this week, and I'm very privileged to have Dax, Dr. Caitlin, and Lindsay up here helping me answer your questions. So if you have any remaining questions, we are in day number 2 of this fast that we hope to all go 7 days. I'm going pretty strong. I feel really good. Last night was not so good, but today I'm doing a whole lot better. And like I said yesterday, anything you can do to just chill yourself out in the midst of this is always going to serve you well. All right, Ryan, you're up. What you got? Party hat and all. Thanks for coming up on the stage. Ryan.
Yeah, I was wondering about fasting for folks that might have neurodegenerative diseases, maybe like Huntington's. My wife was recently diagnosed, and I have been exploring some intermittent fasting. So some of you folks probably know me from yesterday because I was asking about intermittent fasting. But as far as more of a long-term fast, what would you recommend for folks that maybe have those types of conditions like a neurodegenerative for a long-term fast for an immune reset?
Thank you, Ryan. Anybody on the panel want to talk it?
Hi again, Ryan. Good to hear you, not see you, but I do love long-term fast. I do recommend, though, that individuals with any type of chronic disease of any sort, that they work up into it, because it can be very stressful and very taxing on the system. So I definitely wouldn't recommend somebody go from the standard American diet to a 3-day, 5-day, or even 7-day water fast. So making some of the shifts into getting more into a low-carb, high-fat diet to start to down-regulate inflammation, and then incorporating intermittent fasting, and then move into more of the long-term fast, because there are a ton of really amazing research that does show that when you go into a fasted state, that those ketones are really healing to the brain, but you just got to do it smartly so that they feel well and that they continue to want to do it.
And there's no shame at all in trying anything. Yeah, I think sometimes people are like, well, I don't want to cause harm. I mean, there's really no harm that would be if it's a temporary thing. This is not going to be something you're going to do forever.
Exactly, yeah. It was kind of more like a let's do a reset and then kind of go from there type of thing.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Ryan, for your question. And we still have plenty of time, you guys, if you want to come on up, tell us your experience. I will say, since we're in day number 2, if you've made it to day 2 and you're still here and you're still lucid, congratulate yourself, because this is a hard day. I don't underscore that enough because I want people to know I realize it's gonna suck. Now over time, this is like I've done fasting for years, as has Dr. Caitlin and Dax and Lindsay. We've all done it a long time. It still can suck in day 2. So don't think because it's difficult that means you need to bail. But if you do need to bail, there's no judgment. We've already heard from 2 people today that have already said that they've gone the longest they've ever gone on a fast before. Like, let's celebrate that. Let's honor that. And both of them are still going strong. So good things are happening here. And we have our next person on stage. I'm going to take a stab at it. Is it Ife?
No, it's Ife.
Ife. What you got for us, Ife?
Yeah, a bit close. Hi. So, my question, well, I haven't started fasting yet. I usually do intermittent fasting. So I eat once a day. So I usually go 24 to 25 hours. I think 27 in the longest. And I'm about to do probably 5 days starting tomorrow. But I'm a bit nervous because of work. I've got friends who did it, and some of them were like, they had problems concentrating and things like that. So I just wanted to know how your experience has been, and if you've been working while doing it. And actually, mostly I work from home, but I have to be like completely on my game, on top of my game. So I'm a bit nervous about that. I just wanted to know what your take was.
Well, my experience is that kind of brain fogginess that could cause you problems and concentration is only concentrated between that 36 to 48 hour-ish mark. That's generally when I hear from most people having issues. Up to that, no. After that, no. But that one little period. So maybe what you do, Ife, is you time it so that time period is more in your sleep time and in your non-working time, so that you can be on your A game when you do have to work.
Okay, yes, got it. Thank you.
Lindsay, any comments?
I was going to say, I really like to do block fasting when I am working because it makes it easier for me because I'm staying busy. And so if I do end up getting a little bit of the brain fog or, you know, a little bit of the fatigue, that's where some of the additional things like the salt or the electrolytes or fast tonic come into play just to get you through that hump.
Anybody else?
Those are both great suggestions. Yeah.
I would, anytime you're going to do any kind of extended fast and you're working a regular job, I like to start my fast on a Friday. That way, by Monday morning, you'll be past the worst of it, and you'll probably start being more clear at work than you've been in a while.
I like that. Ife, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Hope that answered your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Excellent. And good luck to you. 5 days is hardcore. The longest you've gone is what? You said 36 is the longest you've gone?
No, actually 27.
27. So even, yeah. So when you pass that 27, do a little happy dance because it's a big deal when you do your longest fast ever. I love seeing kind of fasting newbies. I was going to say fasting virgins, but that has a weird connotation. So fasting newbies kind of like doing that for the longest they've ever done. That's pretty awesome. Good luck to you. And come back here. We're going to be here every day this week at 1:30 p.m. Eastern to offer encouragement. So we want to know how you're doing.
I definitely will. I'll keep you updated.
All right, Iffy. Thank you so much. All right. So yeah, we're heading into day 3 tomorrow. And for most of you, this should be where you start to make that turn. If today was sucky for you and you're just like, I can't make it much longer, give me some inspiration that things are going to be okay. Panel, let's go to you guys. Give some encouragement that what they maybe feel in this day 2 is going to turn the page in day 3. Dax?
Yeah, Jimmy. We had talked previously about some of the benefits of fasting, and there's a couple that I don't think we discussed. if you can start getting into the longer fasts, you're going to find a couple of things that will be pretty delightful. I noticed that my vision is more clear than it ever is.
Yes.
When I'm nearing the end of a fast, as is my hearing,
what?
my mental acuity, my sense of touch and smell. All of your senses, your five senses improve, and also your sixth sense improves in terms of a more of a spiritual reawakening and a feeling of emotional balance. So there's many, many, many great things to look forward to if you can achieve a longer fast. And with that, I've got a conference call that I have to take.
Thank you, Dax. Appreciate you being here.
You guys are great. Can't wait to see you all again tomorrow. Thank you very much.
All right, bud. Caitlin, what you got for us?
I just think that if you can push through, because day 2, truthfully, from what I've seen, always sucks. No matter how seasoned you are as a faster, it is that transition. And like I said earlier, transitions are always the hardest, no matter what transition it is. And so once you can get through the transition of, burning through your sugar and your stored sugar, and ultimately forcing your body to switch over to burning fat and creating ketones, and your brain being able to utilize those ketones, you are going to be flying high. But it's that transition. It always sucks when you go into it knowing that that's the hardest part, and there is light at the end of the tunnel, and it's a big bright light. It makes it so much easier. And the benefits outside of weight loss is everything that Jimmy and Dax have already mentioned. So keep going. You got it.
Day 2 is the boot camp, and then day 3 and on, you're in the field and you're taking on the world. It's awesome. Lindsay, what you got for us? Give us some hope.
Yeah, I think day 2, when we talk about how difficult it is, and for those that aren't fasting necessarily, just know that it's not the whole time of day 2 that sucks. It's just these waves that come when the wave of hunger, and it's just a little bit uncomfortable, but it will wane. And those benefits, that the moment that your body starts utilizing ketones more effectively, that your brain is just so sharp and your mood is so improved and you're just happy. It's hard to imagine if you've never done it, but actually when you fast, your heightened sense of happiness goes up. And I know that has to do with the regulation of all those neurotransmitters, allowing our gut and our body to heal and do what it does best.
Absolutely. And if you can make it through day 2, you're going to make it to day 3, you guys. And I promise you, you're going to be on top of the moon. I love that we've heard imagery of euphoria, kind of floaty, kind of otherworldly kind of thinking. It sounds woo-woo. Just trust me, if you've gotten this far into the fast, you're already feeling a lot of that. And it's wonderful. And I will tell you from my personal experience of having tested, I'm not testing a whole lot this time, blood sugar and blood ketones, because I've done so many, I kind of know what's about to happen. Day 3, you're going to see a precipitous jump up in your blood ketones if you test them, and a fall in your blood sugar. Now, don't look at a 61 blood sugar, for example, and freak out. Oh my God, I'm getting hypoglycemic. I will ask you, how do you feel? And you'll be like, I feel fine. I feel great. 61 in the context of a fast is actually good. Like, you don't have any glucose needs that you need that great amount of glucose in your blood. So if you test your blood glucose, don't freak out if it's lower. You test your ketones, you'll see a commensurately high level of ketones. When I say high, 2, 3, maybe 4 for a lot of people by that day 3. So thank you guys so much for joining us. This is day 2 of my 7-day water fasting challenge. Once again, it was great to have Dax, Dr. Caitlin, and Lindsay up on the stage answering questions. We're going to be here every single day this week in Keto for the Soul at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, all the way through Sunday. So I hope this is encouraging to you if you are fasting currently, or if you're just kind of going, okay, I want to see all these suckers going without food for a week. What are they going to survive? so far, so good. So thank you guys for being here today, and we'll see you around the clubhouse.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.